Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the true architecture behind some of the most advanced AI systems on the planet and ask a pretty critical question: who or what really holds the reins? We're looking at a deeply fascinating report from the Institute of Energetic Paradigm. It completely dissects Anthropic's Claude Mythos and pits its underlying philosophy against a fundamentally different approach to artificial intelligence.
Right off the bat, take a look at this staggering number, 271. That is the exact number of vulnerabilities that Claude Mythos recently helped identify in Firefox 150. I mean, this isn't just theoretical research anymore. This system has massive real-world impact. When a modder can dig into a seriously complex codebase, like a major web browser, and uncover that many actionable security flaws, well, we are looking at a genuine leap in AI-assisted cybersecurity. But this brings us to a really fascinating question, and it's one we absolutely have to answer today if we want to understand the true trajectory of frontier models. When we see a system like Claude Mythos performing at this crazy high level, are we actually witnessing a fundamentally new form of raw intelligence? Or are we looking at something else entirely, like an exceptionally advanced form of what the report calls surface engineering? Here's our blueprint for today's explainer. First, the Mythos cybersecurity leap. Second, the anatomy of surface engineering. Third, the energetic paradigm alternative. Fourth, comparing control architectures. And finally, the verifiable AI frontier. Okay, Section 1, the Mythos cybersecurity leap. Let's ground this in reality and look at what Anthropic's Claude Mythos actually achieved. This perfectly illustrates that Mythos isn't just marketing hype. The UK AI Security Institute actually evaluated it, and they noted that the system showed continued improvement on capture the flag tasks, and, this is the big one, significant improvement on multi-step cyber attack simulations. So it's moving way beyond simple code autocomplete. It's actually reasoning through extended complex security challenges. Section 2, Anatomy of Surface Engineering. To really get how Mythos pulls this off, we have to peel back the layers. Now, it might sound like a knock, but surface does not mean weak here at all. It actually means creating a highly effective operational reality around the AI. The report argues that Claude Mythos is still mostly surface engineering. It hasn't necessarily fundamentally changed the underlying causal architecture of intelligence itself. What it actually does is demonstrate what happens when you take a powerful frontier model and totally surround it with cybersecurity tools, sandboxes, fuzzers, compilers, test runners, and intense human verification. This is where the magic trick gets revealed, and it's fascinating. It completely dismantles the illusion of, magic AI. Claude Mythos isn't just a chatbot that suddenly woke up as a security genius. The model generates hypotheses, sure, but it's these 6 external layers that actually convert its unstable output into verified, usable engineering artifacts. You've got the multi-step reasoning at the core. But then you have task orchestration for scanning. You have fuzzers and compilers physically testing the code, strict validation layers requiring actual proof of crashes, human security engineers reviewing it all, and finally strict access controls. The system stability? It literally comes from all this external scaffolding. Section 3, the energetic paradigm alternative. So we've seen how Mythos builds a fortress around a single model. Let's look at a totally different theory of open system control. This right here is the central distinction of our whole explainer. The Mythos route basically says a stronger model creates dangerous and useful capabilities, so we have to control that powerful model through external engineering. But the energetic paradigm, or EP, starts from a completely different point. It says the tasks themselves have structure, constraints, dependencies, failure modes. So EP structures the entire task around those targets and verification routes. It uses any model just as an executor inside that paradigm. Simply put, Mythos controls the model, EP controls the entire reasoning and verification process across models. Think of it like a closed-loop workflow. This really shows how the energetic paradigm operates process first. Instead of just vaguely asking a model to find a bug, an EP system connects raw reasoning to external verifiers to produce reproducible evidence. It locks onto a target, maps the attack surface, classifies failures, generates hypotheses that can actually be falsified, delegates the testing, and strictly maps out the blast radius. It formalizes exactly why systems drift and how errors reproduce. It takes unstable model output and turns it into rigorously verified action. Section 4, Comparing Control Architectures. Now that we've mapped out both systems, it's time for a direct architectural showdown. Looking at this breakdown, we can neutrally observe some pretty clear trade-offs.
Mythos gets its capability from a strong proprietary model. It gives you immense, immediate value, especially in cyber tasks. But, it relies heavily on a closed vendor ecosystem and gated previews. The energetic paradigm, on the other hand, is a cross-model control layer, meaning it could sit on top of GPT, Claude, DeepSeek, or even local models. Its primary strength is that it's a completely generalizable architecture for any high-stakes domain. But, and this is a big but, its primary weakness is clear. To become more than just a theory, EP requires some serious, heavy engineering implementation to actually become real.
Section 5, the verifiable AI frontier. So what does this architectural divergence mean for the future of AI in high-stakes environments?
How does EP actually move from theory to reality? Well, to compete as a standard, EP has to follow this 4-stage roadmap to prove it can reduce drift better than just ordinary prompting. Stage 1 is defining the control schemas, literally mapping out the constraints and failure modes. Stage 2, they have to build prototypes connected to real external verifiers, like Lean for math proofs or CI systems for code. Stage 3 is proving it actually works through hard benchmark evidence. And finally, Stage 4 is packaging EP not as a chatbot, but as a universal control layer that sits above multiple models and below multiple validators.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought, drawn straight from the report. As these AI systems continue to scale up, the ultimate victor probably won't be the system with the absolute best chat interface. It might actually be the one whose intelligence remains completely controlled, testable, and externally verifiable. So, are we moving toward a future ruled by single powerful walled-off models, or a future governed by universal verifiable control architectures? The answer to that question is absolutely going to define the next era of technology. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.